Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the series of game guides that I've been doing for Borderlands 2 and specifically the Commander Lilith and the Fight for Sanctuary DLC. I hope you're enjoying those, how to find all the guns. So today what I want to do is I want to kind of put a little bit of a beginner's guide up just in case. I know there's a few of my friends that haven't yet started this DLC, and I'm sure there's plenty of people that have got it but haven't quite got round to getting to starting it. So I thought I'd put together a beginner's guide on how to approach the new DLC, what you'll need, and just a few nuggets of things that I've learned since starting it, and I've now played the DLC thrice completely through, and on different levels and different characters, in co-op and in single player, and so I've learned quite a bit from the new DLC content. So I hope you're going to enjoy this one. So I will warn you ahead of time, I will be showing footage from the DLC, so if you're one of these people that doesn't like spoiler alerts, then maybe this is not the video for you. Hopefully it will help, and let's get into tip number one. So tip number one is one that Gearbox has also put out as what they recommend, and that is do not start the DLC before you reach level 30. Now you can do that if you like, but life is going to be tough. This is quite a tough DLC if you don't start it above level 30. So I was in a position that this launched in early June, and I was at level 27-28. So I'll give you a few tips if you find yourself in the same boat on how to level up reasonably quickly and hit that 30. Now I played with Mikey, aka Quick Smoke, and I ended up at level 30. He was at 29, and we were able to cope pretty quickly. So level 30 is a kind of guide. So that, of course, the first thing you can do is just continue to not blow yourself up, but continue to do quests, side quests, as much as you can in the general game, and that will help you obviously. But if you don't want to wait, one of my big tips is to head to Fink's Slaughterhouse. Now you'll find Fink's Slaughterhouse in the fridge. Just as you come into the fridge, it'll be right in front of you. You have to go into the travel point there, Fink's Slaughterhouse. You can't travel to this, you've got to travel to the fridge and go in like this. Now, if you want me to do a separate guide to how to be successful in Fink's Slaughterhouse, leave some comments down below. I'm quite happy to do that. Now, first thing you're going to have to do is go across to Fink. There he is there. And pick up the mission. Now, there are 5 rounds here to do. And you're going to get a minimum of 3 waves. I figured that by my calculations there should be 18 waves of enemies, and this will get very silly very quickly. My big tip is that you do this solo. Do not do it in co-op or it'll be much harder. Now I came in here, you can see this is my level 53 character, but I came in here with a level 28 character, and I was able to level up quite easily two levels and get to that 30 by fighting through the kind of various waves of enemies. Now typically you're going to get a level 24 enemy when you first come in here at level 28, and then it'll ramp up from there as the waves go through. Quite achievable though, guys, and I'm happy to do a separate guide if you need help. Of course, the other thing you can do is just do a bit of farming, and Borderlands is renowned as a game that you can do farming in. So you can see I'm farming Wilhelm here. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit overpowered for him, so I'm going to let the enemies spawn in. But you can spend an hour, a couple of hours just farming a boss or something, and you never know, you might get a legendary as well. But the typically is another way that traditionally you would do this within the Borderlands, and it'll help you get to level 30. So you've made it to level 30. What do you do before you start the game? Well, I would suggest you level all your main guns as close as possible to level 30 before you go into the DLC. Now the easiest way to get guns at close to your level 30 is to use the loot crate in Sanctuary. Now if you're not aware of this and you've been playing for a while, You'll find it in the main area when you travel into Sanctuary. So it's in the station here. There it is there. There is the loot crate. You will need some keys, golden keys, but you should be able to get keys. Fairly simple, and you'll see when you open it, there you go. It has the level 53 weapons. I'm so excited to jump up and down, which is exactly the same as the level I'm at the moment. So that's a good way of doing it. If you're not sure how to get shift codes, these are readily available online. Come to the Discord server, the Big Gaming for XP Discord server. I'm always posting shift codes when I get them. You can also follow Gearbox on Twitter or go to borderlands.com and you will get shift codes to help you get new weapons. Now I use the box a lot when I'm struggling a little bit in the game. The weapons usually only work for about 3 or 4 levels, so I'll sometimes use it. And you can see you can come back and forward if you're playing the DLC to this place and get upgraded weapons if you need to. Okay, on to tip number 3, and that is you will need at least one good fire and electrical weapon before you start. So there's 2 types of enemies you're going to come across in the DLC typically. You're going to come across infected type enemies, and you're going to come across the kind of normal Pandorian soldiers, and they will both need different types of weapons to kill them. Now what I've found as I've gone through the DLC is that the infected will need typically fire weapons are effective against them. The Pandorian soldiers, as we're seeing now, might need the electrical or a combination of electrical and fire. The electrical tends to get their shields down and the fire will kill them, as we're seeing here. So you definitely need to start at the your loadout with a good fire weapon and a good electrical, and I'll show you some suggestions possibly that you can think about. Now you will get the sapping hail, or you'll get a variant of the hail Moxie's gun when you complete the Finks Slaughterhouse. The only problem is going to be is that the you can see I'm level 53 here. That was only 47. Hellfire is excellent if you can get it, or something like that. You know, so the ruby you'll pick up as a quest reward, and you know also that should include a typical grenade as well. Also upgrade as much as you can from Crazy Arrow. Upgrade your ammunition capacity as much as you can with your uridium. You can see I'm fully upgraded here, but try and get that as high as you can, because that's going to help you a lot. Now typically the new weapons you're going to find in the DLC are all fire or electrical weapons, but majority are fire weapons. That you'll get the new effervescent weapons. There's the Toothpick, and it kind of tells you, it gives you a little hint about what's going to be effective against enemies in the DLC. Now tip 4 is a pretty straightforward one and a very obvious one, and that is to play through all the side missions. And that's typical of Borderlands, that the side missions are going to really help you tackle enemies in their main mission. They're also going to help you level up a lot, and you increase your chances of potentially gaining better weapons as you go through the DLC. So once you're in the DLC, make sure that any side missions that become available, play them, and play them quickly. Don't just put them aside and ignore them, because they're going to help you a lot. And of course, the stronger you become, the more you're going to be able to attack the enemies towards the end of the main story mission. So yep, make sure that you do all those little side missions. So on to tip number 5, and tip number 5 is get to the burrows as quick as possible and farm the Toothpick. Now in my opinion, the Toothpick is the best new gun in the DLC. If you can get a good level of Toothpick, you will be set for the whole DLC, all the missions. This thing is awesome. You can see it right there, and it's actually pretty easy to get. Once the burrows opens up, I have a whole guide on a lot of the new guns. I've got every one of the new items now, and I have most of those guns or new items I have guides, gun guides for. So if you haven't watched that yet, the Toothpick one is probably one of the most popular ones I've put up so far. So in fact it is, it's got incredible views. So if you want to know how to farm this, watch that guide. It is not that difficult, but I would say get yourself in here early and grab yourself the Toothpick. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of supplementary information, and that is to farm Uranus but in the Helios Fallen as soon as possible. Now typically you're not going to get this to about roughly about halfway through the DLC, but once you do, and he's going to be tough when you first do it, but I'd come back time after time. I have had so many good guns from this guy by farming him. I was actually farming him the other day to get the electric chair, and again I have game guides on how to farm this guy, what kind of different weapons you're going to get from him. But I managed to upgrade my conference call, I managed to upgrade my hellfire, etc, etc. So come in here and spend a couple hours or an hour every so often and just farm the heck out of this guy, and it will help you get upgraded weapons and help you stay in the game and stay ahead of the curve as far as being very powerful in the game and making sure that you can kill enemies quickly. So there you go, guys. There are the main tips I've got for you for beginning or just before you start the new DLC, the Commander Lilith and the Fight for Sanctuary. I hope you're going to enjoy the DLC. I've had a huge amount of fun on it. As I said earlier, I've leveled 3 different characters at all different levels, and I have just had so much fun, and I have had a lot of fun doing the game guides and whatnot for this DLC. So I hope you're going to have as much fun as I have. If you have any questions, please leave them down below, and thanks for joining us on Gaming for XP. See ya!